I remember seeing the aircraft going down, spiraling, and thinking, son of a gun, the thing really was on fire. When the movie came out in 1986, I was still a recent graduate of Top Gun. I knew all the participants in the movie that had helped with its filming, so it was a pretty exciting time. Tom Cruise and his backseater Goose, they flew the F-14 Tomcat, and that was in fact the aircraft that I flew. I remember clearly seeing the Top Gun movie for the first time. Being somewhat of a recent graduate of the school made me a little bit of a critic. Didn't play a whole lot of volleyball on the beach, and we weren't exactly running around dating and going to bars every night. It was a very rigorous program. The Top Gun movie really captured well, I think, the flight scenes, some of the intensity and the speed and the drama. The adversary aircraft in Top Gun are fictitious, but clearly the intent was that the F-14s were going to shoot them down before they could shoot down Tom and his squadron mates. The F-14 was designed specifically to counter the Soviet threat. At that time, the Soviet Union was sort of an easily defined adversary. It wasn't terribly gray. One of the key things was to teach the aircrew how to employ the F-14 to its limits and almost beyond. The F-14 was designed to carry up to 6 Phoenix missiles that had a range of over 100 miles. There's no other aircraft like it at the time. It had a wing that actually swung forward and aft based on its Mach number and its speed. Two-seater, pilot up front and a radar intercept officer in the back. That was a job I had. You could not actually physically fly the aircraft just with one person. I think Top Gun told a story that most of the society, most of our people hadn't sort of seen or understood. I mean, there's some flying scenes where they're high-speed passes, and that's exactly what it is. Part of our procedure, that if you're in a flat spin, it's unrecoverable when you got to get out, 1 potato, 2 potato, and then eject. Because if you didn't do that, what was depicted in the movie is in fact accurate. The back seat goes out first, and in the movie, that's what killed the backseater Goose. I was crewed with Snake, his call sign. He's the commanding officer. It was a very, very dark evening without any horizon. I noticed that there were sparks streaming out of the back of the aircraft. The radar dropped off. There were a number of systems that started to fail, and then the aircraft went into an uncontrolled roll. And so I said, Snake, have you got it? Because he's the one with flight controls. There are no actual flight controls in the back seat. And he said, no, hang on. And aircraft goes into another roll, and I said, Snake, have you got it? And he said, jump. And I didn't wait to hear out. It was pretty obvious we needed to get out of that airplane. It wasn't working anymore, and it was probably going to blow up. But, you know, Snake was all right. We were kind of banged up a little bit, but okay. Later that night, we had an F-14 in our squadron have a midair with the sister squadron. Lost 2 jets, 4 more aircrew went in the water, and 2 of them never came out. 2 of them were killed, 1 of them never found. To have lost 3 F-14s in one night was pretty startling. My wife, at the time we were dating, and she was in Virginia Beach, and she heard on the radio 3 F-14s lost off the hike, 2 aviators. So she started to do the math, and so she was in a very different spot than I was. And so she called my family, who at that point had been notified of my accident, but my parents, being of the World War II generation, knew that if a black car came up, that was not a good thing. So when they got the phone call, they were immediately relieved. because they knew at that point I was alive. It was a pretty tense moment. I think my family was fascinated with Top Gun when it first came out. And for them, they didn't have a front seat to what I was actually doing. I think most people, when they think of Top Gun, yeah, Tom Cruise sort of rises to the top, but it really is a movie about that airplane. To be able to then go and see the aircraft in person is a huge draw. And I think it's true of so many of the artifacts throughout the Smithsonian.